Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is NABIEHANN BINTI DIL2231. So I'm going to talk about introduction of freedom of religion in Malaysia. The Federal Constitution of Malaysia protects the right to freedom of religion or belief, including religious manifestation by way of processing, practicing, and propagating one's of religious belief. Despite this, federal law favors the Islamic faith over any other. And freedom of religion is ensuring in the Malaysia Constitution. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha, for the introduction. So now, I will explain about help and reason of judgment. So before that, I will introduce myself. My name is Yasmin binti NAZRI. My matrix number DIL2231. So the first one, we talk about Article 11 of the Federal Constitution speaks of freedom of religion, but this did not mean that the plaintiff was to be given the freedom of choice to profess and practice the religion of her choice. So the application of the first part of Article 11 subsection 1, which provides that every person has the right to profess and practice his or her religion, is subject to the second part of Article 11 subsection 1 and also to Article 11 subsection 4 and Article 11 subsection 5 of Federal Constitution, because the issue of change of a person's religion is directly connected to the right and obligation of that person as a Muslim, and this is an affair of Muslim falling under the first defendant's jurisdiction provided by Article 11 subsection 3 subsection A of the Federal Constitution, read with section 7 subsection 1 of the 1993 Act. So next is Article 11 subsection 1 should not be read in isolation. It must be construed harmoniously with the other relevant provision on Islam, namely Article 3 subsection 1, Article 74 subsection 2, Article 121 subsection 1A, and Article 160, where a Malay is defined as a person who professes the religion of Islam. The declaration in Article 3 subsection 1 has the consequence of qualifying a Muslim absolute right to murtad in Article 11 subsection 1 by requiring the compliance to the relevant Sharia laws on apostasy enacted pursuant to Article 74 list 2. So the next held and reason of judgment is, since the plaintiff was still a Muslim, Article 121 subsection 1A provides that a finality of her decision to convert out of Islam was within the competency of a Sharia court and not the civil court. This is because the plaintiff cannot hide behind the provision of Article 11 subsection 1 of the Federal Constitution without first settling the issue of renunciation of her religion Islam with the religious authority, which has the right to manage its own religious affair under Article 11 subsection 3 subsection A of the Federal Constitution. Lastly, there was no inconsistency between Article 11 subsection 1 and section 2 of the 1993 Act, which is provide the definition of a Muslim. Section 2 of the 1993 Act was enacted pursuant to Article 74 subsection 2 of the Federal Constitution. Section 2 of the 1993 Act is directly designed for the purpose of implementing Sharia laws on the Muslim, and it is not in any way designed to curtail the freedom of religion under Article 11 subsection 1. From the definition in Section 2 of the 1993 Act, the plaintiff is still a Muslim until there is a declaration to the contrary by the Sharia court. So that's all from me. Thank you. So now I will be passing to DALILA.
Thank you, Aisyah, for the explanation. Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is DALILA binti NORULAZWAN and my matrix number is DIL2131. Today I want to talk about facts of case of Lina Joy. A Malay woman known as Lina binti Jailani applied to National Registration Department (NRD) to change her name, first to Lina Lilani, then to Lina Joy. Reasons for doing so was she had renounced Islam for Christianity and she intended to marry a Christian. She made 2 attempts to change her name at the NRD since 1997. Ultimately, in October 1999, her application for change of name was approved, but her replaced identity card IC states that her religion as Islam. Lina Joy made an application to NRD office to remove the statement Islam and her original names or from her replacement IC, and Aldi refused her application on the ground that it was incomplete without an order of the Sharia court to the effect that she had renounced Islam. Lina Joy then sought legal remedies. Last but not least for me, however, the lower court's refusal of jurisdiction over this case further constitutes a departure from the general principle that administrative law is governed by fundamental constitutional protections in well-functioning constitutional democracies. Thank you, and move to the next presenter.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is NURUL SYAZWANIE binti IZHAR. My matric number DIL211064. So today I will continue about law and explanation. Act 11 subsection 1 of the Federal Constitution expressly guarantees the right to religious freedom. It appears to apply to everyone. However, there are still many questions and inconsistencies around how the clause has been applied thus far, particularly when it comes to Muslim right to freedom of religion. Islam interpretation of religious freedom differ from the interpretation offered to other religions. It has a number of limitations that show that there are some difference in Malaysia's level of religious freedom. But in order to ensure social stability, this clause was kept included in the Federal Constitution. State law and federal law may govern or prohibit the spread of any religious theory or belief among adherents of Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur, Labuan and Putrajaya. The inclusion of clause subsection 4 in Article 11 which states that state law and in respect of the federal territories of Kuala Lumpur, Labuan and Putrajaya, the spread of any religion may be regulated or prohibited by federal law. That's all information for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is MARISA, DIL211035. Today I want to talk about is Malaysia an Islamic or secular country. Therefore, Malaysia Islam is something claimed without doubt according to the perspective of Sharia. He explained that scholars disagree that Islamic countries need to place Al-Quran and Al-Sunnah as a higher source. So, if you argue using this definition, it's turned out that Malaysia is not an Islamic country. In conclusion, the debate on whether Malaysia is an Islamic or secular country is based on the definition used by someone. If someone to argue using the secular definition, then it's clear that Malaysia is an Islamic country. And on the another hand, if using the definition of Islamic country, it is clear that Malaysia is not an Islamic country. Before of this agreement occurred based on the definition used in debating whether Malaysia is an Islamic country or not.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is MUIZ bin KUSHAIRI and my metric number is DIL211046. And today I'll be presenting about the issues of the case for Lina Joy. So firstly, Lina Joy made the application to change her name and remove Islam from her identity card. So therefore, as long as the person is a Malay by definition under Art 1602, the said person cannot renounce his or her religion at all. Malay under Art 1602 remains in the Islamic faith until his or her dying days. So secondly, Lina filed suit with the High Court. So based on Article 11 of the Federal Constitutions, Muslims have no right to renounce Islam and embrace another faith unless a Sharia court allows it. And lastly, Lina Joy made an appeal to the Apex Court. So Lina Joy appealed the decision but lost by a majority at the court appeal, and the main issue was whether the NRD was right to require Lina to produce a Sharia court order that she was no longer a Muslim before the NRD could delete the entry of Islam from her identity card. That's all from me. Thank you.
In conclusion, the Lina Joy case made clear how Article 11 of Federal Constitutional Law is to be interpreted, which provide any Malaysian to express their religious view freely, but for Muslim, only Sharia court can decide for their wishes to act in apostate. In our opinion, we believe that everyone has the right to their own beliefs and the freedom to express and question their doubts. Forcing them to stay will only just portray Islam as extremist and only increase the fear of others toward Islam.